Hey, welcome to the third video in this series about web authoring. So here, let's get started. So before we start this series of videos, there's a lot of work for you. There's a lot of groundwork for you to do that I'm actually not going to cover. Instead, I'm going to point you to resources that is going to cover this material. W3 Schools, by far, I've seen a lot of these kind of websites. W3 Schools is by far the coolest I've ever seen. Extremely useful, light on text and explanation, but high on doing. Actually, they have a really cool little editor that you just spend hours and hours on this site before you start the set of tutorials. So you should know your HTML, start tags, end tags, attributes, values, elements, HTML document, head, body tags, okay, header, title. Know everything as much about HTML as you can. These two links, Learn HTML and Learn HTML, not so much HTML5, but the HTML one is a very good one to go through. It should take you hours to get through this. All of these tutorials, and the cool thing about these tutorials is when you click on these tutorials and you click on try it yourself, okay, you get this little editor. So you can try things like, well, you know, what happens if I type this in, okay, and you can see it there. Now what happens if this tag here, okay, this end tag gets omitted? But nothing happens. How about that? What if I put it? What if I put it here? What is that going to do? Okay. So those are sort of the things that you could try, and so many of these tutorials have that. So basically, go through this whole thing. Okay, it's a neat little quiz at the very end. Now the next one I recommend you go through is try the HTML5 tutorial. This is basically brand new stuff. HTML5 is coming in a big way. Many browsers already support HTML5. When you've done that, move on to the CSS. Okay, so the CSS, so basically I am here, CSS and CSS3. Okay, go through the CSS and CSS3 as you would, again, same thing, same kind of idea. Lots and lots of hands-on experience. You spent hours going through this. Very interesting stuff. Okay, now the next one here I would like you to go through some information on JavaScript. Now this has more to do with programming than it does you know, web design. But we will be using JavaScript in a number of different ways in this project, and it would be useful to know some information about it. And related to JavaScript is the HTML document object model. Alright, now we're getting some pretty fancy stuff. I don't need you to spend a ton of time on JavaScript and HTML DOM, but spend maybe an hour or so. And remember, you want to go through JavaScript, not Java. Okay, those are two. They have similar names, but they're two very different things. Okay, JQuery. Wow. That's all I can say about this is wow. Learn it. Great stuff to know. Hot scripts. Look at all this free stuff that you can have. Have a look at the JavaScript scripts. Okay. Try them out. Okay. Scripts and programs. Just so many. Oh, and that's JavaScript. Okay, so the last thing, so that's all the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript stuff that I want you guys to know. We'll be using all those technologies, but I'm actually not going to spend too much time teaching you about the specifics of them, because I want to spend more time on the overall web authoring process. That and this HTML, JavaScript, and CSS stuff, you know, you could quite easily learn on your own. Of course, I'm always there to answer your questions. So the next thing is you got to know your Photoshop. Okay, so be familiar with Photoshop. We already went through a Photoshop unit. Be familiar with selection tools, layering, resizing, resampling, saving to different file types. And we're going to be adding to that. We're going to be using the slice tool, and we're going to be using the, it will be blacked out, but you can save for web and devices. Photoshop will actually be the program that creates the HTML table from the slices, and we'll use Photoshop to generate our first web page. Then we'll use Dreamweaver to turn that web page into a template to create many different pages. Okay, so it all starts in Photoshop actually. Okay, so that's it. The next video we will get started.